let's take a look at reading aloud. The problem is that sometimes when you know, for example, you're in a class or you're in a workshop or a meeting or something, and there's this whatever, a passage or that you have to read, and you know that the instructor is going to go around the room and ask everyone to read, and you know it's going to get to you. So you're terrified that, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to read. What if I get stuck, right? So right there, you're already preparing yourself to stutter. And so then maybe what you do is you look and you count down, you say, okay, where am I going to have to read, and can I say this? That's a good strategy. You look and you say, let me practice reading this sentence. And a couple times I did that and they skipped around and I had to read something else anyway. So, but if you can, if you say, okay, he's asking them all to read, he's going to read number 1, she's going to do number 2 and 3, and I'm going to be number 6. Let me read over number 6. It's unfortunate because we're not listening to what anyone else is saying, but it's a tactic. It's a temporary tactic for you to do to help prepare yourself for that reading. So let's talk about things that you can do. Whenever possible, inform, and I already shared this with you, but I'll share it again because it's very important. Inform the teacher, the instructor, the facilitator, or the person leading that sometimes you stutter. Remember, you're not hearing me say that you're a stutterer. Say, sometimes I stutter. And I may need to pass. So when you get to me, I may just say, I may raise my hand if I can't say pass, or I might just say pass. Make sense? Takes the pressure off. Now you have an option to read. Now there were classes when I was taking a Hebrew class where I had to read as a part of the class. I still told the teacher, and I said, if I have to say pass, I'll read it in private, or I'll, do whatever. And he understood. And I don't think I ever had to say pass. I would just relax and I'd do my best and I'd read in Hebrew. Okay, same thing in Greek when I had to read in Greek. And I'm going to share with you some other techniques, but let the teacher know. Here's another thing. When it's your turn, act like you're reading for a play, like you're an actor. That is, get into character. Remember I told you about developing your own style, your own rhythm and cadence? When I'm reading now, and I just had to read not too long ago in front of a couple hundred people, I actually don't read normally. I read like I'm going to be reading for a play or something, or like I'm another character. So I develop a cadence in my voice as I'm reading. That's going to help you too. So think of yourself as someone else when you get ready to read. Don't think of yourself as you, the stutterer. Think of yourself as you, the great orator, you, the great reader. You're a great reader. Get out of your own character into this other character as you're reading. Okay? That is extremely helpful. So remember, this way it's not you reading, but it's a performer. It's an actor who's reading. All right? You create a rhythm and a flow that takes you from sentence to sentence. Right? So create a flow as you're reading. If you get stuck on a word, pause. Use a dramatic pause, and then go ahead and read that next word. If you can't read the word, quickly, because you're a brilliant thinker. See, as a person who stutters sometimes, we're able to think quickly and shift words around. So there's been times when I got stuck on a word, I would substitute another word or skip the word, right? Or say it real lightly and then come up with the next word. You have to use these tactics and strategies to get it, and then don't worry about it, don't get upset, and just keep flowing, right? And occasionally that still happens to me. There'll be a word there, I'll get out of my rhythm, I'll get stuck, and I will either skip that word or substitute another word, right? So we're very sharp thinkers. Now, the other thing is that you just want to make sure that when you know that you have to read, if you can prepare, first of all, by reading over whatever it is you have to, that's going to help you. You're going to be more prepared. If you're in a classroom situation or a workshop, let the person know. Tell them you might need to pass. You can also use your hands as you're reading. Take yourself out of your own character and turn yourself into someone else as you're reading. Read it dramatically. Don't just go reading aloud. Problem. When you know that you will have to read aloud, you become almost terrified. I'm reading right now. Almost terrified because of the potential. So right then, there's no emotion, there's no expression in that. So granted, you might start to stutter. But if you say, reading aloud, problem. When you know that you'll have to read aloud, you can become almost terrified. See, I'm reading right now, but do you see the difference? I'm reading it like it's dramatic. And so what it does is it gives me more emotion and more passion, and so I'm able to read it without even thinking about stuttering. That really, really works. That really works, and that's why I'm sharing it with you now. So just run back through these. Let the teacher or the instructor know that you may need to pass. When it's your turn, read it dramatically, put some passion into it, use your hands. Create a rhythm or flow as you're reading that takes you from sentence to sentence. Pause in between, right? It's like a dramatic pause, and then go on. If you get stuck on a word, skip it or make up another word. People will say, oh, you put another word in there. That's okay. And if you do those things, I think that that'll help you get over reading. Keep in mind, this is short term because you're transitioning now into a great speaker. So these are just techniques and tactics you can use right now. The next one that we're going to look at, and the last one, is small and large group presentations. So let's look at that.